Welcome to the place where we learn about and learn from the leaders in our field who are powering human creativity. I am Aaron Dworkin, and this is Arts Engines. Thanks again for joining me here on Arts Engines. Today's guest is Francisco Núñez, who serves as the visionary director and founder of the Young People's Chorus of New York City. Francisco, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm very excited to be here with you again.
Yes, exactly. And I'm so excited. And of course, Young People's Chorus is co-curating and helping us in terms of as one of our wonderful creative partners for the show. But I would be remiss too if I did not share that in addition to founding the chorus, you're a MacArthur Fellow, you're a Musical America's 2018 Educator of the Year, in addition to being conductor, a composer, and really leading figure in our field, which I think is why I kind of want to delve right into something that I think literally just affects every single one of our viewers, our audience, whether they're an administrator or a direct artistic practitioner. And that relates to funding, like how we're funding ourselves. So, this is always a thing. Individual practitioners are thinking, how do I fund my career? Different things that are going on. How can I get certain gigs that will sustain me so I don't have to potentially do non-artistic work? And obviously for all of our administrative audience who are engaged, no matter what your role in an organization, you are a fundraiser. You could be in programming, but you are a fundraiser. You're the conductor, you are also a fundraiser, as well as the people who are in development. So I'd love to kind of, talk about how COVID has changed that in your experience. But before we do that, I'd love to just kind of get your sense of how do you view fundraising, especially as a founder and a director? A lot of people, and I know a lot of people in our audience have struggled with this sense of how do I divide my time between my artistic passions and what I love doing and why I either started this or, joined this particular organization to do this artistic thing. But now I've got to do this fundraising thing. And sometimes I feel like I'm spending more time on the fundraising than on what I actually love doing artistically. Just wondering, how do you view that? How do you look at balancing your time of those things? How are your views on fundraising overall?
Well, thanks for asking. Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very challenging, especially now. So we went through COVID, and we're still going through COVID. And I think so much has changed because of it. But prior to COVID, everyone was a fundraiser at YPC at all times because people give to people first and foremost. So if you're in love and you're passionate with your work, you're going to be able to show and emote that to anyone that comes to you. So if you're a conductor or you're a teacher working with children, the children are going to go home and tell their parents how much they're loving what they're doing. And even though they may not come from a wealthy family, they will try to give what they can. And fundraising on grassroots levels starts with meals, starts with ticket sales, a little bit of giving money in the pot, and then eventually at YPC, because we're a very diverse organization, we have every spectrum of income, we're able to reach out to more and more people through the love that we give. So if we're doing our work very well, the word will spread, and then of course you start reaching people. The biggest difficulty on fundraising is showing and telling your story. It's people say it's much easier with children, but I think it's easy through the art form if we're able to get our art form out there. So for me, it's always been about creating great art and showing the world that we're making a difference in a child's life and helping them develop who they are. During COVID, foundations really stepped up, corporations stepped up, individuals stepped up, the government stepped up. When something unique happened, and they say, we want to maintain arts, we want to maintain the importance of arts in a child's life. So they stepped up and they gave But what ended up happening, because they gave so much more, things are shifting now and figuring out what are we going to do next. And not only that COVID happened, but we also had an incredible reckoning in our country where we started to see what did we not see before COVID. And what we didn't see were these amazing organizations serving an entirely different group of people that were not being helped financially prior to this. And I think that foundations and individuals start to say it is now time to see these people and support them. So checks were being written to organizations from foundations that had rejected them prior, out of nowhere. So is that trend going to continue? I think it is. I think we are in a different place when it comes to that. I've also seen that there is a change in who is in charge of foundations. So the baby boomers who had music in their lives, who believed in going to the opera and going to, the Nutcracker and seeing the Messiah, they love arts. They're there. They get subscriptions. They're going to support the arts world. They're now much older. They're giving their foundations to their children. The children want to save the planet. Why should we sing if we don't have a planet? So I think that there's a bit of a trend moving towards environment. So with the concept of environment and people in charge of foundations and people in charge of giving money, is it time to give to the arts, or is it time to give to something else? Before we give to the arts, we can make sure everything is there. The trend is starting to level out a little bit, because I do believe that the people believe in the arts, believe in young people. But I think what we need to do now is become connectors. We as art leaders need to connect our programs and show the world that what we're doing is affecting the social emotional learning of the people that are listening to us, that are playing with us, that we are reaching, as well as talking about the different kinds of sensory feelings that are happening around us, and how do we connect and make that connection with our funders.
And so this is, it's just extraordinary. You've touched on so many, I think, of these key points. I was wondering, related to that, right? The environmental discussion or social service discussion. When you're with a funder, and I know so many people who lead arts organizations will ask me these questions. So when you're with a funder and they ask you the question along the lines of, why you? And in that, not why YPC, but why the arts? If we have this pot of money and we could give to the environment, or we could give to a social service pressing issue, why should we give to you, the arts? What is your answer to them?
Well, that's difficult. Most foundations, most corporations or individuals, they already know what they want to give to. So we have to find, how do we connect with them? Now, if they don't give to the arts, if they give to the environment, or they give to homeless, or they give to other kinds of financial or higher education, we need to know that we do connect with them. So if I'm an arts organization, I'm working with young people, but I want to connect to someone that's not giving to the arts, that's a very difficult thing to do. So I need to figure out, how do I connect into their world? If they're giving financial literacy, or they're giving towards education or higher learning, as I said. What we've been able to do is that we've grown our program to go beyond the notes, beyond just singing. Because our children have gone through so much emotional work throughout their lives, when you give me 10 years of you singing with me, I have to give back to you. So if you are a child that is maybe not doing well in school, or you need a tutor, or you want to get ready to go to college, an SAT programming or ACTs, we're actually offering that. Then we ask others to help us offer that. But we don't do it because the money is there. We do it because the child is not going to be able to maintain his attendance with us. So we're looking for everything we can. If we're honest with what we do and we show that it makes a difference, and the most important thing is metrics. So if we can show through metrics that we are working to make a difference in a child's life and helping them fill their potential in what they want to do, that's how I will talk to a foundation or a corporation. I have to see where they are, and then I would like to tell them where I am. And hopefully it grows. But the biggest thing right now also is the size of an organization. I think because there's so many new organizations that are applying for grants now, because we've done such a great education of saying there are foundations out there are corporations out there, more and more people are applying, which is fantastic, and the market is still blowing up, so there's more money. How do we connect it and to keep the attention on you? Because success will make it seem like you're fine now. And I think that is a problem that we all have to face. We're always building new programs because of it. But how do we maintain the program that we do so well, maintain success, maintain a workforce that could pay rent and raise families, at the same time be part of a child's life and help them? To be successful also means you may lose funding. And that sounds difficult to me, because if you don't get that funding, then you're going to go back to where you were prior. So that education and that constant rejuvenating those funders and getting new funders in there is the hardest thing. And we have to just continuously work.
In your opinion, and all of this is so key, and especially I think that last part you shared about the work, because it's tough work for sure. As you think about those organizations out there that are looking and saying, we want to get funding like these other organizations we see, but we're just not getting it. We want to get funded like YPC or others, and we don't know where to invest. Should we be hiring more development staff, but we don't have the money to hire them, right? Or should we write more grants? Should we focus on foundations versus individuals? Any guidance or feedback that you have based on your experiences of what you would tell those smaller organizations or organizations that feel they're not where they need to be relating to fundraising yet?
Getting someone's attention is very difficult. And that's what you're trying to do. I am sure the work that you're doing as an arts organization is fantastic. You just need to get eyes in your organization. If you cannot afford to find more people to write grants for you, then get anyone in your circle to help write grants, whether it be the spouses, the friends, volunteers. I would start there. This is what I did. I went right after friends. I did it myself, and I asked everyone I can to make phone calls on our behalf and to write. Eventually, you'll get a little bit of grassroots, so you can hire someone who does it more professionally and get you a nice schedule going. So the answer is yes. Conductors, teachers, we're salespeople in many different ways. We're always out there showing our product. The most important thing, though, is making sure that the art you're making is being seen and that the art you're making is actually really wonderful. Artistic excellence is under the eye of the beholder or the ear of the listener. So what is artistic excellence? It's going to have to be for certain groups of people, because even though you might find it to be amazing, it might not be amazing to that particular group. But don't take it personally. Find someone that loves it. Another thing, when it comes to success, it's very hard and it takes years. So don't give up. You gotta keep asking. Just because you get rejected doesn't mean you shouldn't go back the next year. There's always a new group of people and panels that are coming through.
Yeah.
So keep the art out. Use social media as much as possible. Word of mouth and many, many events. If you continue to do the work, someone's going to listen. They're going to sit in the panel and they're going to say one day, you know what? I've seen this. I've heard this. They're amazing. Let's help them.
Yeah. Awesome. So unfortunately, we're just about out of time, but as you mentioned, right, this is hard work and tough work sometimes. So there's got to be some days where, it seems like everyone says no to you and things are really a challenge. How do you draw on inspiration, courage, strength, persistence in those toughest of times?
In my program and the children personally and in the music that I do. But I will say when it comes to fundraising itself, it has been harder than ever. I believe that there is a change happening in what we as a universe, as a group of people are caring about. I just hope that the arts will remain in the hearts of those who believe it, because I've been doing this for 33 years now, and I've seen firsthand the impact it has on our children's lives. They become better doctors, that are firefighters, that are nurses, just because they're not becoming virtuosos. That's not what's important. It's becoming a great citizen. And the concept of music being part of their lives is what's most important. And if you don't make unfortunately here, we do the programs and then we try to raise the money. I know many other people try to raise the money first. I think programs come first. And you're bored. Your board is the most important fundraiser, and they should be helping and connecting you to everyone. They need to be as passionate as the leaders.
Yeah. This was just absolutely tremendous, and so not only informative, but also inspiring for me. So Francisco Núñez, you truly are one of the arts engines who is powering human creativity in our world. Thank you so much for everything you do and for being on the show.
Thank you for inviting me. I look forward to seeing you again.